Good morning, School of Light. We are in Chronicles chapter 10. I make my own coffee like on the saucepan. It's hot, but it's so good. We are going to talk about Saul, the first king of Israel. Now, the Philistines fought against Israel. The Israelites fled before them, and many fell slain on Mount Gilboa. The Philistines pressed hard after Saul and his sons, and they killed his sons Jonathan, Abinadab, and Malchi-Shua. The fighting grew fierce around Saul, and when the archers overtook him, they wounded him. Saul said to his armor bearer, "Draw your sword and run me through, or these uncircumcised fellows will come and abuse me." But his armor bearer was terrified and would not do it, so Saul took his own sword and fell on it. When the armor bearer saw that Saul was dead, he too fell on his sword and died. So Saul and his 3 sons died, and all his house died together. When all the Israelites in the valley saw that the army had fled, and that Saul and his sons had died, they abandoned their towns and fled. And the Philistines came and occupied them. The next day, when the Philistines came to strip the dead, they found Saul and his sons fallen on Mount Gilboa. They stripped him and took his head and his armor and sent messengers throughout the land of the Philistines to proclaim the news among their idols and their people. They put his armor in the temple of their god and hung up his head in the temple of Dagon. When all the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead heard of everything the Philistines had done to Saul, all their valiant men went and took the bodies of Saul and his sons and brought them to Jabesh. Then they buried their bodies under the great tree in Jabesh, and they fasted 7 days. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord and even consulted a medium for guidance, and did not inquire of the Lord. So the Lord put him to death and turned the kingdom over to David's son Jesse. So Saul dies in battle. He gets hit by an arrow. It mortally wounds him, and he realizes that if he is caught, they will abuse him, like he said. So he asked the armor bearer to run him through. The armor bearer couldn't do it, so he falls on his own blade, his own sword. Girls? Enough. I've got these puppies in here. That's all it is. Now keep in mind, this is in Chronicles. This isn't in 1 Corinthians or, in 1 Kings or anything. Hold on one second. Go outside, girls. Come on. Go outside. Get back outside. Oh, those dogs, man. I love them. So what is my takeaway? What's a short, simple, quick takeaway? I think probably the last verse. Saul died because he was unfaithful to the Lord. He did not keep the word of the Lord and even consulted a medium for guidance. He did not inquire of the Lord. So how would that apply to you or I? Well, most likely we're not going to go to battle with swords or even guns, right? So how would that apply to you or I, living in a rather civilized world? Well, let's consider this analogy. You or I feel like, we always have pressure to earn income, right? So we feel the pressure to earn income, and we say, you know what? I'm going to go do such and such to earn it, without praying about it, without consulting God. You might even consult everyone else beside God. In this case, he consulted even the medium. And I guess that was a disrespectful thing to the Lord, because he could have asked the Lord. It appears like he went into this battle without consulting, and when we go into ventures without consulting God, it's not very wise. At the very least, consult God about it. Makes sense, right? Even now that I'm saying this and I'm going through a certain transition, financial transition, um, it's a word for me. Because I didn't really consult God. I just like prayed before, I always kind of have this dream, and then certain things came to my past or into my path that I feel were like answered prayers, but I haven't really consulted God after. Like, hey, God, thank you, this and that. What do you want me to do? Is this what you want me to do? Um, Maybe that's what I should be doing today, on top of my daily routines of accomplishing things. So, so lemon. So, next, we're going to go into chapter 11, David and his mighty man. That's a really exciting part. Um, so, what are we going to do? Learn from this, learn from Saul's situation, and consult the Lord. That's about it. God bless. Oh, if you need Bible studies, we have through the mail correspondence courses in over 22 or 20, over 20 languages. They're doctrinally sound. They're no cost to you, and they're ages for 4 through adult. The advanced classes can be transferred into college credit. But the main thing is that you get the Word. You get God's Word in your heart. You get doctrinally sound, good teaching, foundational stuff that you build upon. And they're put together really good. Just let me know. I'll send them to you. God bless.